day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fidelis.
And my name is Willem.
And my name is retired Lieutenant General Dr. Mohd Amin.
Welcome to our final episode of BiomedCast Season 2. Today we are honored to welcome an incredible guest who brings amazing experience to our discussion. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Amin.
Thank you very much.
You already make an introduction before, dear. So please allow me to give a brief introduction about Dr. Amin. So he is the former Director General of Health Sciences of the Malaysian Armed Forces, which stands for MAF, and he had served the MAF for 34 years and retired on 13 September 2021. He graduated with a Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery from University of Malaya and a Master of Medicine in Occupational Medicine from National University of Singapore. He is also a registered public health physician with the Malaysian Medical Council. He has extensive knowledge in medicine and military and has experience serving in Malaysia and out of the country. His service experience covers the aspects of operations, leadership, and organizational management, and the formulation of policies in the Malaysian Armed Forces Health Service. He also served as board member at the Asian Centre of Military Medicine, Bangkok, Thailand. That's all for the introduction of Dr. Amin. And without any hesitation, let's start our discussion today. So, Dr. Amin, can you briefly explain what is biomedical military is?
Well, thank you, Fifi. Thank you, William, for this opportunity to have a chance to be in your podcast. Yeah. And before I start explaining what is biomedical science in military, let me start off with a little caveat, which is very usual for people in my organization or my former organization to do before they give any public statement. First, I need to qualify that whatever I say today or mention today will be my personal view, will not be the view of the Malaysian government or the Malaysian Armed Forces. And I believe that it is very important that we hear the views from the various sectors, especially with regard to biomedical science. Okay. So for your question, Fifi, what is biomedical military? Okay. The military has always been the user of science. Okay, and I always like to describe science as in the basic form, which is knowledge. And biomedical science is that aspect of knowledge that is concerned with biology, in our aspect is human especially, but in this new concept of more holistic view, is go beyond human. In the concept of One Health, it involves animals and all the things that's living. Okay, and science in its basic is just knowledge. It's just knowledge. It's a very crude form. It's only that science is that aspect of knowledge that is more systematic. Okay, and when you call it science, it is something that we are well understand. Why it's very important? Because science is something that we can validate, and when we do say that, is that aspect, that knowledge that we have actually mastered. Okay, and it can be reproducible, and this is very important. That is, science is not just information. Yeah, and there's two aspects: what is information and what is science. Yeah, where science is knowledge, information is just information. It's a part of communication. It's the data in the process of communicating. Okay, so what is biomedical in the military? When I mention it as applied, anything that is of use in the military will be used. For example, okay, when you look at the theory of ballistic, which is projectile, okay, is the aspect of physics. Okay, but when you talk about military, it also involves humans. As such, biomedical science is very, very much important in in the military. And usage of biomedical science is a whole spectrum of it. You have biomedical science usage in prevention, diagnostic, therapeutics, and rehabilitative. And the other aspect is research and technology, where you develop more knowledge on biomedical. So the whole spectrum is very, very important in the military. Okay, we use biomedical science to prevent people from getting heat stroke, training injuries. Okay, in building up body armors that prevent soldiers getting hit or killed by projectile. Okay, making sure vehicles are less noisy so that we prevent hearing from getting lost among soldiers. Okay, in therapeutic or diagnostic, we use biomedical science in ensuring that soldiers can take medication to prevent them from getting infectious diseases like malaria, like leptospirosis. Okay, we also use diagnostic capabilities in biomedical science to make sure that we do fast diagnosis when soldiers become ill, or we take samples when we do surveillance from water to take parasite, bacteria from water sample. Okay, and rehabilitation, there's a lot, biomechanics and everything. So, in essence, biomedical science in military always go hands in hand. Always go hand in hand. And why? Because it's natural. Defense is natural. It's part of nature. It's part of survival. And knowledge has always been part of survival. So that's why they go hand in hand. As we develop, we will use more science and knowledge to generate and to develop better defense for our soldiers, for our country. Is that suffice?
Yeah, it's very interesting to hear that how does we apply the biomedical science in military field. It's very interesting to hear that because it's a very fresh knowledge. It's a very fresh information for me. Yeah, because I never knew that biomedical science can really apply in military field.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I will go to the next question. So, what are the qualifications to become a biomedical scientist to serve in the military field?
Okay. When you talk about the military, you are limiting to an occupational, what we call it, classification of people in uniform. But I would like to expand it a little bit more into defense and security, whereby the people that involved in defense and security are not just people in uniform. In my former organization, which is the Malaysian Health Services, Malaysian Armed Forces Health Services, my spectrum of people that involved in that services goes beyond people in uniform. I have civilians, I have contractors, and I have the whole nation. You see? So the new concept of defense is a concept what we call as total defense of the whole or nation approach, whereby everybody participate and contribute into defense. Okay, let me explain. For example, people in uniform will always be in the front line. Okay, but you need tools and equipment for them to work with. So where does this tool and equipment come from? They come from the contractors. Okay, the contractors receive their equipment and tools from where? From the manufacturers. Okay, and the manufacturers work on the manufacturing of equipment come from the design of the innovators and the researchers. Okay, so if you look at it, everybody have a role to play. Everybody have a role to play. People in R&D in the labs, they work, develop knowledge, and that knowledge can be used to be innovated into equipment of military use. and civilian use. And that's how the whole nation need to gear up. The best example I would like to share is what we go through the last 3 years when we have the pandemics, okay, where the whole nation is what we call it is enrolled into the defense of Malaysia against the COVID pandemics. Every day we keep on advising people wear masks. Every day we keep on encouraging people don't go out unnecessary, avoid crowded places. If you get sick, because the science has taught us that that's how COVID spread. The less the virus spread, the easier or the faster it will go. Because the virus requires people to propagate. So when there is less infection, there will be less period of pandemics. And once there's no virus, we can start back again. But everybody need to play their part. We cannot rely on the doctors just giving medication. Because as long as the infection progress, there will be continued infection. Okay? But unfortunately during that time, medication also is not there. So the scientist is working on getting the medication. So, coming back to your question, what are the qualifications? Yes, for the military person, we have technologies, we have doctors, we have nurses, paramedics, we have lab technicians. So these are the basic qualifications for if you want to become military. Apart from the usual generic requirement to become a military person, you need to be fit and healthy.
Yeah, true.
Of certain height and so on, apart from your academic qualification. But as I mentioned, if you are interested in defense and security, you can play your role in various ways. Okay?
Yeah, the scenario given just now is very jump out of the box, like where we really realize that all parts of like different fields, they really come out together to really like apply the knowledge to came up some equipment or apply the knowledge to aware the community to stay away from crowds. I really appreciate the scenario because it makes us and makes the audience to really understand how does different fields they really come together and work together.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Is it necessary to get a master to enroll in military field?
You see, the military organization is unique. Okay, we if you have a master degree, sometimes we call it you are overqualified. Because we are normally we train our people from down up. You come in fresh, then we train you to get your master, your PhDs. And then there's a lot of people that obtain their PhD while they are in the military. Okay, they come in straight into the military with PhD. Probably the route is a bit less as a regular armed forces, but as a reservist, you can. Okay, there is part of the military called the reservist. Okay, so these are civilians that only put on uniform 2 weeks in a year. Okay, they learn a bit of basic military, but they were ready to be called in when there's a need. Because the military organization in our country is a bit unique. We don't have a big military as a regular force. Okay, but then we have a system whereby we provide in-way for people in the civilian sectors to roll in, especially as reservists. Okay. So if you are reservist, because we have lecturers that become reservists, in fact your former dean here, Professor Zabidi, has been a reservist in the medical corps. He was the commander of the 12th Medical Reserve Company in USM. So there are in ways how to do this one. But if you're not interested in wearing uniform, there are also ways that you can participate in the defense of the country as scientists looking into research of military importance. And those are the things that I can share with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will address the next question. So what specialized training do military medical personnel receive to handle injuries related to biological agents?
Well, that is very specific. Because when you mention the term biological agent, it's a very specific term for certain infections that qualify to as biological agent. Okay, but such as anthrax, such as botulism toxin. So these are basically agents that have been known to be used as weapons. Okay, yes, we do have specialized training. Malaysia has various collaboration with international partners, America, Canada, when you come to this one. And in fact, for biological agent, our national knowledge, especially in KKM itself, the Ministry of Health, is quite capable for managing, because infections are quite easy to manage, because you still have antibiotics. What difficult is to manage is basically when you have agent that is unknown. For example, like COVID. Because when something is unknown, we need to work faster, harder, and more intelligent to find and understand what does it conform. How does it work? How does it spread? Just if you remember how we need to really fast learn about COVID. Even that, until now, we're still learning. Until we understand, then we can particularly say, okay, this is how we're going to handle it. So yes, there are specialized trainings. There are trainings in our lab technician go for specialized training in doing diagnostic procedures. We do DNA sequencing, everything. So these are things that we have to learn, especially when you have new tools in the fields. Last time sequencers and what do you call it? Assays are quite straightforward. Now assays and sequencers are very unique. And we are not looking into the virus itself. We're looking at nucleotides. So these are new tools that we always need, and it will come as the knowledge grows and the need requires. Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Because the example you given is making audience can understand when there's new knowledge is being introduced, or if there's a new disease being discovered, there will be new trainings for the people to. There will be more trainings for the military services going on, right?
True.
Yeah.
For example, I'll always like to reflect back on the period that we have to pass during COVID. Okay. For example, diagnostic. Okay. Previously, our capabilities of doing DNA and nucleic acid testing are limited. But suddenly you have to jump to test thousands of tests a day. How do you generate that capacity? It's easy to do things in the labs, but when you want to multiply it in an effective way that you can control disease and outbreak like what we have in COVID, you need to have a system whereby you jump. Okay, new equipment help, but training module. So that's why during COVID, the Ministry of Health and our unit, we work together. We train as many as possible. Whatever capacity we have, we share. We train our lab technician to do testing. We acquire new equipment to do testing. We constantly re-evaluate testing method to make a more efficient and effective testing procedures, so that we can keep up with the demand. If not, it will miss. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It takes about 3 months before we can get the capacity up to have something. Because if you send the test to the lab and you only come out 2 weeks, it's no good. So what's the need is that you send the test on the same day you can get the result, then you can decide what to do with the patient. And this is how important science is. Science needs to provide knowledge accurately, timely. You see? If you can provide accurate knowledge but it takes 1 year, it's useless.
Yeah. And we really realized that, like the scenario given just now, I think audience and us will really realize that how important the role of Ministry of Health and the military feel they really come out together to really fight against the COVID pandemic. Without the help of the laboratory diagnostic, we won't really can fight against the COVID-19 so easily. Yeah. And to have a further question, I think I will pass up to Willem.
Okay.
So from that segment itself, we can see that it's all quite multidisciplinary, and everyone has to collaborate and cooperate together to make sure that the end goal is reached, and that is for safety and health. So moving on to segment 2 will be healthcare in the military. So the first question here is, can you please tell us how healthcare is delivered in the context of military? So how in the military itself, how is the healthcare services being provided to the those in the military itself?
Okay. That's very good question. Question that very close to my heart. Okay, so healthcare everywhere is quite straightforward. Okay, there are preventive care, there are primary care, there are secondary care, tertiary care, and rehabilitative care. Okay, in those segments, okay, the military healthcare, that's how we design our system to deliver it. Why? Because healthcare is very challenging. I always tell my colleagues in healthcare that doctors, they are always victim of their own success. Okay, for example, if we prevent a prenatal death, then we probably have a challenged infant to grow up. He might have some complication from the procedures. Okay, then we have to prepare to address his complication. Okay, for example, if we are good in our emergency care, probably we are able to save more life, but we have to deal with more crippled persons. As my colleague from Selayang once said, he's a neurosurgeon. He said, now in Selayang we are quite good. In Sungai Buloh actually, in Sungai Buloh is quite good. My emergency physicians are so good that now my neuro ICU is so full. So we are always victim of our own success. We prevent more deaths, so we have more aging population. Not to be pessimistic, yeah, but it's just to address the reality. And as people of science, we should appreciate that knowledge will always continue to grow. Our work will never end. We will create more demand as we become better. And that should be a very promising prospect for everybody. Yeah. So in the military, how we deliver healthcare is as such. Okay, because health is so unique that when we can prevent more people injured, we can save more resources to address the primary care. Primary care is where people get it from the clinic, where they come and go. So, and it's much cheaper to do that than to do them healthcare in hospital, because hospitals are much more expensive. So we address those really need hospital care to be in hospital. And we address those work at the hospital so that we have less people to rehabilitate. So we prevent complications so that less rehabilitation. And even now rehabilitation, we are employing methodology and procedures where patients need to participate more than just have facilities. So that as demand grows, we can always address If not, we will addressing infectious diseases. Now we have another one, non-infectious diseases. Then we have another one, the aging population. Then now we have another one, the special care, disease of rare diseases of importance. So we can't afford it, because at any moment that we have opportunity to save resources, we need to do it. That's why preventive is important, primary care is important, secondary care is important, rehabilitative care is important. Every part of the healthcare delivery system is important, and that's how we administered this one. And apart from that, we have what we call it the pre-hospital care. This is where in the military is very important. How do you address injury at the front line in battle? Because the hospital is way back at the bases, whereby the soldier is fighting at the front line. So this is how we become more innovative. What can the soldier do to prevent death? Okay? Because our studies in battle injury says that if you're able to prevent blood loss within the golden hours, you are able to save the soldiers. That's how we use science. Okay, that's why we invented tourniquet, whereby soldiers apply the tourniquet themselves so that they don't lose blood. Because when soldiers lose blood, it starts off the shock mechanism. And when the shock mechanism started, the survivability of the soldiers reduced by 50%. Okay? Then, early use of antibiotics. Because the blast injury also introduced a lot of germs into the tissues. So early use of proper antibiotics will be able to prevent those germs from multiplying before they create septicemia or toxicity to the soldiers. So these are how we use technology that is available. This one. And now, apart from tourniquet, we also have what we call it coagulants. Okay, like what you call it, coagulants powder, where we apply it on the wound so that it coagulates faster and stop bleeding. So these are how we deliver. Usage of technology to be innovative in delivering healthcare at those various levels: preventive, primary care, secondary care, tertiary care, and rehabilitative care, and even pre-hospital care.
So from there, I think we can see that it's very, very systematic, and most of us may not be aware of how systematic it actually is and how each component is quite important on its own itself and in that network of systems. So thank you so much for that. So moving on to the next question. Are there, to your personal experience, are there any unique stories of the military field of the medical field in the military services that you've experienced or heard of?
Okay. I consider myself lucky. Yeah. I'm a person that since my career in the military started off with deployments. Yeah, in my first year, I was deployed to Africa, in Namibia, with the United Nations mission, and there we learned how to deliver healthcare to soldiers that are so spread out. A battalion that is deployed in an area as big as Peninsular Malaysia. So if I were to visit them, I would have to travel about 200, 300 kilometers just to visit them. So how do I use my knowledge to make sure that they are able to support themselves, prevent themselves from getting sick or injured, or when they are injured, they are able to administer first aid until help can come. Yeah. So these are big challenges. How do we teach a soldier to do self-first aid? Because the proper use of self-first aid, they are able to delay death, delay complication, that help can arrive. Okay. So these are things that we learn. How we do what we call it surveillance to ensure that the water is safe. The camp is free from vermin, so that they're less infectious. The camp is free from mosquitoes. They sleep under bed nets. They take make anti-malaria prophylaxis so that they don't get malaria. So these are things that we employ a lot of preventive medicine to ensure that the soldiers are able to operate safely. Okay. Then we have ambulance and helicopters. If they are injured, how fast can we get to them, and how fast can we take them out, and how far can we take them? So we work by 2 hours. Okay. Every soldier, if he's injured, he will need to be evacuated within 45 minutes. That means the helicopter can fly to them 45 minutes, then fly back 45 minutes, because we need to work within that golden hours. We employ that in Namibia, we employ that in Afghanistan, we employ that in Lebanon, we employ that in Somalia. Okay, so these are challenges. Okay, and another unique story when we were deployed to Afghanistan. Yeah, so there is a bit different mission where we have to work with the community. Okay, sometimes this is quite unique that people always thought that the military, they work with military. No, sometimes the military are the agent for community development. Afghanistan is a country that is war-torn. Okay, so these small communities of Afghani herdsmen that live with goats, because they are quite nomads, and the goats is their economic source. Then we will inform that why are the goats are dying. Why the goat are dying? Yeah, and we realize that the goat have an infection, and this infection is preventable. And then we report our requirement, and they send us vaccine for the goats. And the goats are no more dying. The farmers are happy, and they make our mission easy. So this is the things that are quite unique. People always say that, the military, they go in, bang, 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 bang. They are very destructive. No, we always fight for peace. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. So we can see that the medical field is not limited to just men.
True.
So moving on to the next question here. What are the subfields within the area of biomedical military, and how does one venture into it? So how does diagnostics work out in the field of military?
Okay, as I mentioned to you that the military is where science is applied. Okay, so if you look at projectile, there's a lot of it. Okay, you can apply the knowledge of science in projectile to develop spaceship, to develop missile, to develop better bullets. Okay, or to prevent from missile, to prevent from being hit from bullet, or to prevent missile. Okay, for example, better bullets ensure that a sniper, okay, a person that shoot from far away, can shoot about 1.5 kilometers. You don't even hear the sound, and you are dead. Okay, but better science also can detect the bullet from coming. So there are now radar that actually being used to detect where are the snipers. So it's being used both ways. As I mentioned, it's about survival. Yeah, killing is surviving. Detecting the killer is also surviving. So there's a lot of stuff. What's important basically, do you understand the knowledge? Do you understand the science? For example, take from sniper and anti-sniping. A bullet causes turbulence. Okay? Turbulence is very important to make sure that the bullet goes straight and hit the target. Okay? Less turbulent bullet is one. But the turbulence is also important so that the radar can detect where the bullet come from. So this is where. So subfield depends because it's applied science. It can be used many ways. For example, in information technology, okay, the use of social science, okay, is now being applied in information technology, where they start figuring out, profiling out where are the people, who are the people actually is. So it's just, as I mentioned, military create the demand. Science provide the solution. So there are many fields. They're just telling which subfield. I won't do justice because every field is important. Every field. Yeah, because the military is so wide. It's so wide. So you can contribute in any ways.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, so I'm back. So the next question also something about quite personal as well. So have you ever been in a dilemma when making a medical decision for a brother in arms? And how do you separate protocol and personal feelings?
Okay, so a person of medical science, I'm very clear. I'm very clear. Okay, because when I joined the military, I know that why the military enroll me in is because I'm a doctor. They don't enroll me in because I'm a soldier, because they have better soldier than me. Because they need a doctor, that's why they enroll me. And being a doctor, we are trained to uphold the principle. Okay, do no harm and save life. And whatever we do, we are very clear on that. Very clear on that. Okay, saving a soldier is saving a soldier. Yeah, even that if your time is there's a need to protect the soldier from being killed, you need to do that. Because even in your basic first aid, it was said to protect yourself first. Sometimes protecting yourself demand that you need to annihilate the threat. That's how we do it. We are very clear in that role. Yeah, in that role. But when you face with an enemy, there's no threat. Why should you deny an enemy? Help should be provided, right, equally to enemy. And that's why they taught us in ethics school and everything, because you are there as a doctor, and sometimes the doctor provide the moral compass for the unit. They say this is also our role. This is also our role. We don't condone, yeah, what do you call it, war crime. We protect the unit from doing war crime by providing, no, this is not supposed to be done, the moral compass to the unit. Not use our unit, our medical knowledge. Doctor, can you give him some medication so that we can get more information? No. we will never do that. We will never do that. Yeah, but can you give some medication so that we can save this enemy? Yes, we do, because that is our role.
So moving on to the last segment here will be development and future of the medical military field. So the first question here is, what changes do you personally see occurring within this field?
Well, I think biomedical science will continue to play a big part, yeah, in the military, especially the most important component, because is the human aspect of the military. Yeah, unless we have robots or cyborgs, if you want to call it, we may see there will be need. But since war is about people against people, so biomedical science will continue to be important. Okay, and more in the future is basically military provide unique capabilities and capacity, yeah, to a nation. Okay, and if the military is more capable in addressing many form of threats, then it become more relevant in future defense needs of a nation. For example, what we see during COVID. Okay, if the military are able to provide hospital, are able to provide doctors and technicians and help people to do health work, the nation it become more utility. Okay, because we provide unique capabilities in such crisis. For example, you look in our experience during COVID, opening up of the MAEP, whereby we have a super big hospital, 1,000 bed. Okay, it's not ideal, but it fit for purpose, for that need. Okay, if you compare, is it a hospital? I was asked, how do you find a hospital? But is it a place where you solve some problem? Yes. That's why we need to look from that aspect. So military provide the capabilities and capacity to look at unique needs that we need to handle, because we always work in crisis. I always tell my people in my organization is that if you want to work in a lab that is full of facilities, proper airflow, and so on, don't work in the military, because you always work in an environment whereby the enemy always try to make your life difficult. So you need to survive, you need to be more creative, be more resilient, and be more well understood in your principle of knowledge, so that you can apply those knowledge to fulfill those gaps that you face in the field. That is why I feel that the future is a lot, but we work together. Okay.
So the field will just constantly be adapting and changing.
Yes.
So everyone in there has to be versatile and be dynamic.
True. And that's very important. And as we talk about the future, we always have it's a term that we used in War College before, in the American War College, where we teach future leaders of the military. We use the term VUCA, VUCA, about when we describe the future. It's always a volatile future. You see, full of uncertainty, very complex, you see, and very uncertain. Yeah. So and the other one is ambiguous. So how do you face that scenario of your future? So you just need to be able to be adaptable, be creative, and understand what you have, so that you are able to make the most of things. You cannot change.
Okay, so that is the last question for us. To wrap up the session here today, what key takeaways do you hope our listeners have gained today?
Okay. So, personally, I would say that biomedical science has a lot to play. Okay, for students, please study with sincerity. Don't study to pass exam. Develop your character, not develop your points.
True.
Yeah, because the future is about your character. It's not your academic qualification. It helps your academic qualification, but your character bring you much far further than what your academic qualification. Okay. Next, biomedical science is the way forward. Yeah, especially we are facing more challenges as the society become more global, infection become more more frequent. The aging population represent more needs, because how the body react when they are young and how the body react when they are old is different. Yeah, old bug can become new problem for old people. As I would say. So you need to constantly understand the human body as the population changes. Okay, so that's my two takeaways lah. And please prepare for VUCA. And the future is about vulnerability, uncertainty, and complexity and ambiguity. And your survival skill is your ability to adapt and innovate.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amin. Thank you so much, Dr. Amin, for coming here and joining us here for our podcast here today. So, thank you for sharing all your wonderful experience and information with our listeners. We hope you've enjoyed our adventure into this fascinating and new field. We're incredibly grateful to Dr. Amin for sharing his expertise, thoughts, and opinions. If you have found today's episode informative and fun, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for the next season, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us at our official Instagram page, ISBS_IMU. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next season of BiomedCast. See you next year.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.